Good morning, everyone. My name is Hannah, and today my teammates and I will be presenting about a contemporary theme, which is mega events. In this presentation, we'll be covering 5 main areas. Firstly, we'll be talking about the impacts of mega events. Secondly, the key considerations. Thirdly, we'll be talking about the marketing tools which have been used in previous mega events. Then we will be analyzing the mega events in the Malaysian context. And lastly, we will be providing an industry perspective, mega events towards the COVID-19 pandemic. All the statistics and evidence that have been presented in the following slides have been researched thoroughly through the use of academic journals, websites pertaining to the topic. Without further ado, I will be passing to Leong Ai-Ying, who will be talking a bit more about mega events. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Good morning, Dr. Vincent. My name is Ai-Ying, and I will be covered the reason why we chosen mega event as our research topic, as well as the main aims of this presentation. So the first reason that we chosen this as our research topic is that we have found that the debates about hosting mega events has become one of the major topics of the academic discussion, as well as the mega event are catalysts for change and transformations in city and country across the globe. And secondly, there's an abundance amount of academic research is available, which allowing us to have a full exploration of this topic. Other than that, the third reason is that there is also a lot of journals and websites which providing a good discussion topic from the industry perspective, which also fulfill all of the criteria of our assignments. Lastly, as given the natures of COVID-19, there are more and more research articles is increasing, which discussing about the impacts of COVID-19 on event. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next slide will be the main aims of our presentation. There are total 4 main aims of our presentation, which are to critically analyze the current issues and research team within the event industry, and to analyze the key considerations in organizing and hosting the mega event. And thirdly, to present both of the positive and negative aspects of mega event. And lastly will be to apply the critical discourse to come to valid conclusion. And that's all for my presentation, and I'll pass it to next presenter.
That will be me. Thank you, Ai-Ying, and good afternoon, Dr. Vincent. My name is Scott, and I will be presenting on our research objective and its summary. So there are 5 objectives for our research. Firstly is to identify the impacts of mega events on whosoever country will be hosting. That way we are able to improve the experience of mega events by leveraging positive impacts and reducing negative impacts. Next is to being able to analyze the key considerations on this event visibility and security practices throughout the event. Examine sustainable practices for the future environment of the country and evolving policies, because we believe that this issue was taken less into consideration by many. And researching on marketing strategies and multi-touch approach. Multi-touch is a combination of both traditional media such as newspaper, magazine, and modern media like digital media together when hosting physical events such as mega event. Last but not least are the changes and effect due to the current problem affecting not only the mega event industry, is the pandemic COVID-19. So now can we please see the next slide, please? Would be our research summary. So what is a mega event? It is a one-time sporting event with an international scale and are usually organized by a special authority with a wide media coverage comparing to other smaller scale events like concerts. The key considerations are stated on the slides. Budget estimation, transport facilities for visitors and competitors, ticketing, sustainable practices for future development, human capital, and of course the safety and security mechanism for the event. Marketing tools included in mega events are both traditional and digital media, which I mentioned before, official websites, advertising, and public relation. Moving on, both the impacts towards countries hosting mega events. So positively, it increases tourism visitors. Indirectly, also it promotes job opportunities economically. Socially, it expands the country's cultural perspective on others while building community pride. Environmentally, it would improve the transportation, infrastructure, air quality, and waste management. How, if you ask that, this improves is if the country will be hosting a mega event, welcoming people from all around the globe, government and authority would have to improve facilities to safeguard the image and reputation of the country. Lastly are the negative impacts. So for the negative impacts, socially, whenever the number of people are increased, the chances of criminal activities, bad behavior, and any substance abuse like drug activities would also increase. Crowd control, movement control, noise and air pollution, and waste disposal are at risk towards the environment as well. So resulting in big capital expenditure for security and other human resource. So these are the points for the objective and summary research. And for the next slide, I will pass this on to the next presenter.
Thank you, Scott. Good morning, sir. My name is Premi. So I will be explaining the first two parts of the research topic. My first topic is the impacts of mega sporting event on host country destination image. The literature review of this journal talks about the impact of mega event has on image promotion, development of infrastructure, and also economic growth toward the hosting country. In the view of this report, mega sports events especially are believed to have impact positively on social and economic aspect on the host country. From the tourism perspective, hosting a mega sporting event is expected to bring benefits such as destination image enhancement, increased tourist visitation, and uplift in tourism. This journal has used case study, interview, and observation as a research method to analyze the impact of Sochi Winter Olympic 2015 World Championship event. Moving on to the second journal, which is the key consideration of organizing mega event. The article we found was Surveillance Security in Sports Mega Event. In this journal, the journal literature review says that the article deals with the subject on how surveillance and security practices are organized in mega event. It uses the emerging model of security network to call attention to important issues involving security assemblance. Lastly, this paper presents 5 levels of analysis which are structural, cultural, policy, technological, and relational to examine these practices and document several key areas to further research on sports mega events. The research method used in this article is descriptive method. The sports event used in this article as an example is the London 2012 Olympic Games. And that is all from my part. Thank you, sir. I'll pass it on to Dulanga.
Thank you, Premi. Good afternoon, sir. I'll be talking about the third and the fourth journal that we have come across. Now, the third journal topic was the sustainable practices adopted by mega events and recommendations for future mega events. The research that has been done on this journal was the adaptation and the evolution of environmental practices in the Olympic Games. The first point that was made was with the evolution of the environmental practices taking place within the Olympics, they have an end goal for the mega events, which is to build around the 3 key themes of which is the environment, the sustainability, and zero impact. The second point that was made was using qualitative research, looking back at the previous practices during the Winter and Summer Olympics. Changes have been made, and there have been changes made to the Olympic Charter. Now, the Olympic Charter was amended accordingly. The third observation was Olympic committees and organization committees were observed, and even the archived documents that have been made through the previous Summer and Winter Olympics, these documents, using qualitative research, the necessary changes have been made to better improve the future Summer and Winter Olympic Games. Now, the topic for the fourth journal is promoting marketing tools used for the mega event. The methodology that has been used for the adaptation and evolution of environmental practices in the Olympic Games was qualitative methodology. Now, talking about the fourth journal, the research that has been done on the fourth journal was promoting events through print media. Now, print media is pretty outdated, and there has been a breakdown on what type of marketing mixes that need to be invested in to have a great impact when organizing a mega event, and the type of promotions that are being used for these events. Now, the second point that's been made is the second and the third point are actually showing that the importance for modern media has been growing as the technology has been advancing, promoting methods have been increasing. The use of traditional media and print media has been drastically being used less and given less importance. Hence, the analysis of data regarding these percentages have been shown in this journal, indicating that there is a fall in print media and modern media is being widely used and implemented in the promotion of mega events currently and for future mega events being held. The methodology that has been used for this research is descriptive research method. That'll be all for my part. I will be passing it to Hannah to speak on the case study.
Thank you, Dulanga. So next slide. Now I'll be talking about mega events in the Malaysian context. So for this segment, we have analyzed the case study which talks about the KLC Games, and the research talks about the opinions and perceptions of the local residents on the impacts of the KLC game in the city. The aim of the research was to investigate their opinions towards the social impacts of SEA Games. The objective of the research was to conduct a primary research on the local residents, as well as to recommend future strategies to improve the events. In the case study, there was a literature review that was included, and the two main points about this literature review was that mega events generally increase local community pride and increase international recognition. What I mean by this is that it tends to foster a sense of community pride and increase patriotism, as well as promote KL as a destination for mega events, thereby increasing tourist visits, boosting economic activity, and increasing business investments. Another point was that traffic congestion and road closure were the main negative social impacts of mega events. The methodology that was used for this research was primary data through surveys, and the results showed that the residents were really proud of their city hosting the KLC Games. This again is an indicator of community pride. They also agreed that there was a great deal of improvement that was made at the infrastructural level and also the sports facilities. This is an example of the legacies that mega events like the KLC Games can leave behind. And lastly, they also suggested that the traffic congestion and roadblocks were the most common negative social impacts caused by the KLC Games. The conclusion that was made from this case study was that SEA Games increase unity among the races, thereby promoting cultural exchange and increasing and developing the society as a whole. And the recommendation was that residents should be informed about alternative routes to be used during the mega events. Next slide. So for this slide, I will be talking about the industry perspective of mega events towards the COVID-19 pandemic. As we all know, the global pandemic of COVID-19 has affected a lot of sectors, including the mega event industry. It can be argued that one of the sectors that have been affected the most is the sports and entertainment mega event industry, and it has been witnessing a loss of $1 trillion USD due to immediate restrictions that have been imposed by the government. In the Malaysian context, a recorded loss of 1.8 billion ringgit has been recorded in the industry. And as you can see from the slide, mega events affected were, as you can see, and the most important one was the Olympic 2020, which was supposed to be held in Tokyo. So now the question is, how did the industry react to those changes? Firstly, some events had to be cancelled. In these cases, the organizers had to think about how to mitigate the negative effects of the financial losses, and how to give high standard service to those who have registered already, such as attendees and participants. And examples of events that have been cancelled is the Geneva Auto Show or the Mobile Congress, as you can see from the slide. Secondly, organizers had to consider whether events had to be postponed or not. So now for postponement, there is a problem of relevancy as due to the uncertain nature of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we do not know how the situation will evolve. One of the events that have been postponed is again the Olympics 2020. And lastly, the last option is virtual and hybrid events, which represents the most profitable option as it gives a lot of flexibility to both attendees and organizers to attend the event despite the travel restriction. Example of a country that has really capitalized on those events is the Thailand Harmony Puppet Festival, the At Home Festival, and the Virtual Toy Expo, which use live streaming and virtual 360 as well as music collaborations as a virtual event. And lastly, for the hybrid events, it can be seen that it is a mix of both live and virtual events, and it represents the most profitable alternative in this kind of situation. That's it for this presentation. Now we pass to Leong Ai-ying for the conclusion.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. And I'll make the final conclusions for our presentation. So after reviewing all of the article journals and case study, there are 5 conclusions has been made. So the first conclusion that we have drawn is that the whole city can only benefit from the positive impact if lasting social legacies are implemented. Secondly, surveillance is the key method of promoting securities at sport mega events. And the third conclusion will be the promotions of mega event do require a multi-touch approach, and also the modern media is slowly gaining more important than print media. And the fourth conclusion will be the most of the legacy and system that have been made for mega event will be revolved around 3 themes, which are environmental, sustainability, and zero impact. And the last conclusion is that hybrid and virtual mega events represent the most profitable alternative during COVID-19 pandemic. Hence, events should become more adaptable to these changes. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you. And this is our reference list and also the progress while we prepare our assignment and any questions. Thank you.